New images from Hubble's telescope allowed more accurately estimate comet size 3I/Atlas/. Astronomers, using the Hubble space, they took new photos of comet 3I/Atlas interstellar. These photographs have allowed it slightly better to characterize the newcomer from outside the solar system, estimate its size and learn more of its physical properties. July 1st, APvKw astronomers, Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, in Chile spotted tiny white dots speeding against the background of stars 675 million kilometers from the Sun. Shortly after the discovery, it became clear that this white dot was moving behind fast for an object from the solar system, which suggested it interstellar origin. When the researchers reached for archival records from the sky, it turned out that the object first appeared in the data on June 14. Further, the studies allowed to determine the trajectory of the object, which indicated that the comet 3I/Atlas came to us from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. This is only the third confirmed object in our solar system. The first was the already famous asteroid Oumuamua, which she came to visit us in 2017. The second comet 2I/Barisa, which it was observed in 2019. But scientists admit that many others the objects can pass completely unnoticed. During the recent observations, the results of which appeared in the AR-14 preprint database, DOI 10.48550/arXiv.2508.02934, and did not stay still reviewable, but are about to appear in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. Scientists using the Hubble Space Telescope the best photos of comet 3I/Atlas so far, which allowed them to better estimate the size of the object and some of its features. Hubble observations allowed to astronomers more accurately estimate the size of the comet's solid, icy nucleus. The upper limit of the diameter of the testicle is 5.6 kilometers, but the lower limit is only 320 meters in diameter. Although images from Hubble have made a better estimate of size nucleus of the comet, compared to previous estimates from ground-based telescopes, this permanent comet nucleus cannot be seen directly at the moment, even for the help of Hubble. New photos also captured a plume of dust ejected from the sun-heated side of the comet, and a trace of the dust tail exited the testes. Hubble data indicate dust loss rate similar to earlier observed comets orbiting the Sun. Coming from our system, it's a sunny one. The main difference is that this object is from another planetary system, from another part of the Milky Way galaxy. 3I/Atlas travel through our solar system with stunning speed of 209,000 kilometers per hour, which is the highest the speed ever recorded for a comet visiting the layout the Sunny. The speed of the object proves that the comet drifts through space interstellar for many billions of years. The effect of gravity assists countless the stars and nebula that passed along the way only increased the comet's velocity. No one knows where this comet came from. It's like receiving the rifle ball for 1,000th of a second. You can't do that recreate thoroughly to determine where it has begun its way, David said. Jewett from the University of California, Los Angeles, team leader scientific observations using the Hubble telescope. Observations from other observatories, including space the James Webb Telescope, TESS, Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory and the W Observatory. APvKw, they will help in further discover the secrets of the newcomer from outside the solar system. They will deliver new information about this comet and will help us to better understand this type the objects. Comet 3I/Atlas should remain visible to telescopes grounded until September. Then she will approach the Sun and will not be possible to observe. It is expected to reappear on the other side of the Sun on the beginning of December. The Neolithic Cannibals. Scientists have found traces of conflict, in which 11 people were killed and eaten. Spanish archaeologists found traces of conflict between two communities from the late Neolithic. As a result, at least 11 people including children was stripped of the skin, devoid of tissues, fragmented, cooked and eaten by other people. The incident occurred about 5,700 years it's in northern Spain. In the cave El Mirador in the Sierra de APvKw in Spain, archaeologists have discovered human bones bearing traces of cannibalism. Hundreds of fragments bone dating from about 5,700 years ago bear traces of processing and consumption by other people, which confirms that cannibalism was not foreign to our ancestors. It's a Neolithic. Haze-laden human remains found in a cave in the North Spain point to the practice of eating their enemies after killing them in battle. Results and description of the research appeared in the journal Scientific Reports. Francesc Marginedas of the Catalan Institute of Paleoecology, Human and Social Evolution, IFES, in Tarragona, Spain, with collaborators examined 650 fragments of human remains belonging to 11 people found in the El Mirador cave in the APvKw mountains. All the bones they were traces of cannibalism. Some showed traces of cutting, which suggests pulling the skin with stone tools, while others were smooth and had slightly rounded edges, as if they were cooked. Some of the longer bones they were split with stones, probably for mining and eating the marrow, while the smaller ones, such as the bones of the midfoot or the ribs, wore traces of human teeth. Remains of 11 people, including children, teenagers, and adults, point to violence. According to the researchers, these people they were stripped of their skin and their bodies were deprived of meat and dismembered. The bones were broken, cooked and eaten. Data indicates systematic consumption, with no visible traces of ritual or ceremonial practices. Scholars they think this act of violence was probably related to the conflict between neighboring groups or between locals and influx population. This is a new case of cannibalism on positions in APvKw, said Palmira Saladai of IFES and the University of Rovira in Virgili in Spain. Cannibalism is one of the most difficult to interpret behaviors, due to the difficulty understanding of the act of consuming people by other people. Moreover, in many cases we lack all the necessary evidence to link them to a concrete behavioral context. Finally, social prejudice has the tendency to interpret it invariably as an act of barbarism, she added. Human remains have been found in two sectors, the caves, and are exceptionally well preserved. During the analysis, the researchers identified traces of incisions, fractures after bone marrow extraction, traces of cooking, and even bite marks on the bones. Analysis of strontium isotopes ratio, 87 senior/86 senior, showed that all the victims came from the immediate vicinity of the cave and was eaten in a very short time, probably in just a few days. In addition, radiocarbon dating this placed the event within a precise time frame, between 5,709 and 5,573 years ago, in the final phase of the Neolithic settlement of the cave, just before transforming the position into a burial place. Scientists have also determined that the victims were less than 7 to more than 50 years old and probably belonged to the family. It's a multi-generational. It was not a funeral custom or an extreme reaction, it's a famine. Evidence points to a violent episode. Considering how fast it is everything happened, it probably happened as a result of the conflict between neighboring agricultural communities, Francesc Marginedas said. Scientists suggest it was a conflict in which the whole group was eliminated, and the perpetrators ate their victims. Conflict and development of strategies for dealing with and preventing it are part of nature. The human, admitted Antonio Rodriguez Hidalgo from the Institute of Archaeology in Merida. Ethnographic and archaeological records show that even in less stratified and small communities may have violent episodes in which enemies can be consummated as a form of final elimination, he added. This study is based on previous discoveries in the cave El Mirador, where the subsequent case of cannibalism was documented, dated to Bronze Age, between 4,600 and 4,100 years ago. New discoveries prove that such practices have been present before. Repetitiveness of these practices in various moments of the recent prehistory make El Mirador a key place to understand prehistoric cannibalism and its relationship to death, and also possible ritual or cultural interpretations of the human body, a part of the worldview of these communities, concluded Palmira Saladai. New evidence for the existence of a planet around Alpha Centauri A. Using the James Space Webb, astronomers have found strong evidence of a large circulating planet around Alpha Centauri A. The newly discovered world is probably a gas giant, which circulates in the so-called ecosphere, i.e. in orbit, in which it may rain conditions enabling liquid water. Alpha Centauri is the third star to be bright the night sky. It is just over 4 light-years away, us. However, it's not really one star, it's a triple system where there are the stars closest to Earth, consisting of 2 bright mainline stars, Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, and red dwarf by Proxima Centauri. It is known that there are 3 around Proxima Centauri exoplanet, but so far no confirmed existence of planets orbiting Alpha Centauri A or Alpha Centauri B. The new observations are not conclusive either. Astronomers they saw a world the size of Saturn during observations in August 2024 years. Although the brightness of the stars was difficult to analyze, the researchers managed to remove light from images of both stars and reveal an object with a brightness of more than 10 less thousandths of times from Alpha Centauri A distance from the star by about 2 units astronomical. Astronomical entity is the distance between the Sun and the Earth, in approximately 150 million kilometers. Observations from the use of the Webb telescope they provide the strongest evidence to date for the existence of a gas giant circling Alpha Centauri A. However, additional observations of the system in February 2025 and April 2025 did not reveal any objects similar to this identified in August 2024. Astronomers have described their discoveries in 2 articles, the Astrophysical Journal Letters, and now it is possible refer to them on the AR-14 preprint server. If this arrangement is so close to us, all exoplanets discovered there would give us the best way to collect data about planetary systems other than ours. However, they are extremely difficult observations, even with the most powerful space telescope in the world, because these stars are bright, close to each other and move quickly across the sky. Charles Beichmann of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, co-author the publication. Observations with the Webb telescope, accurate analysis research team and extensive computer modeling they helped detect an object orbiting Alpha Centauri A. However, subsequent observations they ended in failure. We are dealing with a case of a vanishing planet. To investigate this puzzle, we used computer models to simulate millions potential orbits, taking into account the knowledge gained both at the moment observing the planet as well as when we did not see it. Sanghai Aniket from Caltech, co-author of the study. In these simulations, the team took both previous observations from other telescopes, as well as new data from Webb. Scientists have established orbits that would be gravitationally stable in the presence of Alpha Centauri B and would not throw the planet out of the system. Thanks to this is what astronomers have learned why they failed to observe planets in 2025. We found that in the middle of simulated possible orbits the planet moved too close to the star and would not be visible to Webb both in February and April 2025, Shanghai said. Based on the brightness of the planet and observations in the average infrared and orbit simulations say it could be gas giant with a mass similar to the mass of Saturn. According to them, it orbits in orbit away from stars about 2 astronomical units. If the discovery is confirmed, the planet will be the closest planet to Earth orbit in the habitable zone of a Sun-like star. However, because the planetary candidate is a gas giant, scientists say it will not be conducive to life as we know it. If the findings are confirmed, the planet visible on Alpha Centauri A from Webb's telescope will be a new milestone in research on the imaging of exoplanets. Of all the planets photographed directly, this one will be closest to its star. It is also the most similar temperature and age to giant planets in our solar system in our homeland, the Earth. The existence of 2 stars circulating close to each other is a challenge for our understanding of how planets form and evolve into chaotic environments, Shanghai said. Further observations with the Webb telescope, as well as slowly introduced space telescope Nancy Grace Roman, should allow you to get more information about candidates for the planet.